Liriope Muscari. It has several common names. Monkey grass is one of them. Liriope is another one. It is the species name, Muscari, refers to its resemblance to the muscari that bloom in the spring. But this is a really useful ground cover for difficult sites. Shade where there's a lot of tree roots, not much else will grow there. Liriope will really thrive in those situations. Given a little care the first year or two to water them in and keep them watered, this plant will soon spread vegetatively from the central plant that you planted. And one of the nice things about Liriope is that it blooms in September when not many of the other perennials are blooming, and it's a very prolific bloomer. We're kind of at the end of the season right now. After the flowers have faded, it sets berries on the plant, usually black or deep purple. They persist well into the fall. It is really useful, first as a ground cover in shade. It will not really tolerate full sun very well, but it's also used as a kind of a formal edging along sidewalks and in front of the border. It can even be used under trees to protect the trunks of the trees from mowers and string trimmers, etc. Instead of using a mulch, you can use Liriope living mulch, as it were. In the wintertime, in some areas, you might find that it's a semi-evergreen, but mostly it dies down, and we see early spring growth start, and there are several varieties. This is the green variety, the straight species. Some of the varieties have yellow or white stripes along the leaves. This variegation adds an interest as well, and it kind of lightens the shady areas. However, those plants with the white and the gold variegation have less of the photosynthesis capacity of the green leaves. So you'll have to give them a little bit more light, not full sun, but a little bit more light would make them thrive better than the green. Not much bothers Liriope in terms of insects or diseases. The frog is there for relaxation and not looking for much in predation of insects. So it's a very easy plant. You don't need to fertilize it. You don't need to water it much once established. It will spread and give you a great ground cover in almost no time. Liriope can be easily propagated. Best done in the spring when the plant starts its new growth for the season, but almost at any time of year. It is such a tough plant. We will dig up a clump and propagate it. We're going to dig up a piece of this patch in the weeds across the road, so to speak. We're going to dig this Liriope up, and I'm going to show you how to separate it and get it ready for planting. Again, best done in the spring, but it's a pretty forgiving plant. So this patch is fairly thick, and I'm just going to take out a nice chunk of it. So what we have here, besides Liriope, is a little bit of other stuff too, some weeds, and I see some ground cover vinca. But once you get it out of the ground, then you want to start worrying at the roots, I call it. And you can see how dry it's been. Look how dry that soil is. And so what you want to do is start, these are the underground structures of Liriope. These are what, these bulblets, if you will, are what stores energy for the coming winter. And then when the spring comes, those are the focus of the new growth. So I'm going to try to take a couple of these off by hand, but you can also use a shovel to actually separate them. But you can see I've got a pigtail, if you will, of Liriope growth right here, and I am going to just worry at it till I separate it. And again, there is some damage to some of the roots, but this is a very forgiving plant. So that is a clump of Liriope ready to be located in a new place. And you know, you can take the old foliage off, the dry foliage off, and what we'll do is we're going to take this and plant it right in the ground. It's generally not a good idea to be separating and propagating plants when they're in flower. That's an indication that they would prefer to propagate through the flowering and setting seed. But as I say, Liriope is a very forgiving plant. What will happen is once we've planted in this ground, you want to water it. You may see some dieback this fall, but in the spring you will see new growth initiating again from those bulblets, which we have preserved there on the end of the roots. So let's go plant this. Again, Liriope is very forgiving. It's a tough plant. Great for shade where there are really fibrous tree root mass, like under a red maple or many of the maples. And we have just dug this up and separated it from its mother plant. And I'm going to put it in this nicely turned, all ready to go soil. I'm going to make it deep enough so that those bulblets are down about 3 inches. Look at that, beautiful. And now, before I pack the soil around it, I'm going to give it a little drink, because it is dry this time of year, but when you're transplanting anything, you want to give it a good drink of water. And there we go. You want it right at ground level. And now I'm going to give it another drink on top of that to settle the soil around its roots. One of the main things about using water when transplanting, whether it's a tree or a perennial, is you want to kind of rid the soil around the roots of any major air pockets. And using water is a good way to do that. Plus the plant needs water for hydration. Liriope Muscari, a great ground cover for shade. Interesting spikes of blue to purple flowers in the fall.